Alrighty, welcome back to this last tutorial. We're going to be making the exit video. So, to recap of everything that we've done so far, we've learned how to set up a Final Cut Pro library, make events, even do projects. Then we've also made a welcome video for Facebook, and the same rules apply for the Fox welcome. We've then also made the announcement video. We've learned how to mask, how to color grade, and how to do simple audio work to each individual audio track. We've also learned how to import music into our timeline and edit that alongside with the audio. So now we're going to finish that off by making the exit video. The exit video, the same rules apply pretty much to the other two videos that we've already made. So go to open up Final Cut Pro, launch that up, and then we're going to open up the exit project. We're going to go back to our video bin, or video event rather. And we are going to, we noticed that there are 4 different exit clips, and so we're going to listen to each of these. This one looks to be pretty short. This one looks a little longer. I usually on the exit ones go towards the very last exit because it's usually the take that we usually use. So let's go listen to this.
Audio recording for exit.
Glad you could join us for our service.
Alrighty, so that has the beginning. Let's go kind of right here to the end. I did the thing again.
Thanks so much for joining us for our service. Now go be the church where you live, work, and play.
All right, so it sounds like this entire take is a good one-take video. So if you did end up clicking on this or double-clicking on it, you notice that we have a timeline already. This is just this compound clip, the synchronized clip right here. So we need to get out of this, go back to our project bin, go to exit, and now we're back into our exit project. So let's just drag an exit 4 onto the timeline. All right, and now we're good to export and we're good to go. I'm just kidding, that was a joke. Let's go ahead and do the same rules apply. Remember, C is to get our blade tool, and V is to go back to our select. So let's go to the end here.
Work and play.
And right about there, we want her to cheese just a little bit there. So go delete that little tag right there off. And now we're going to go to the beginning. Alrighty, let's find, remember, I always look at the audio. So let's look at this real fast. So I'm going to cut it right about there.
Glad you could join.
All right, back to our select tool, delete that off. All right, so we've done all the trimming that we need to do. What we're going to do now is we are going to import one more graphic. This is a very important graphic. These are the questions that we do for these host videos as of currently right now, June 22nd of 2020. If anybody knows anything about 2020, it's been a weird year. So what we're going to do is we're going to import a graphic. So to import a graphic, we're just going to go back to our Finder tab, and we're going to look in our Psalms tab or whatever file folder structure you are using. So for this specific one, whoever is in charge of this video project, who you'll be submitting the files to, they will have this specific graphic ready for you. And it is the question graphic. So if you go into your graphics tab, there will be something called June 24th questions, or whatever date it might be, or if it's a specific graphic for a specific video, you will have access to that almost immediately. So if we look at this, this is what it looks like, and we need this to be in Final Cut Pro. So what we're going to do is we're just going to drag June 24 questions onto, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag this into the projects. My reasoning for that is I don't want this to be in my graphics, of which I'm going to be using week to week and day to day, because this is just a one-time graphic only. And so I'm going to import this into the projects because this is where kind of like we're never going to use these projects again. Once we're done with these, we're going to delete them. We don't need them anymore. So I'm going to put this in the event where I can delete it and never think about it again. So I'm going to put this in here. And I'm going to just drag this onto my timeline. I'm going to drag it on here 3 times, stacking it on top of each other. Just like that. I'll explain to you why we do that right now. For each question, we're going to be masking, remember that pesky little mask tool? It's also amazing. We're going to be masking each question in on that. What we also need to do is import it one last time at the beginning. What we want to do is make sure that we have this respond, kind of this upper right-hand third graphic right up there. What we're going to do is I'm going to extend this one all the way to the end. Perfect. Just like that. All right, let's go to open up our effects browser, and we're going to go to masks, draw mask, and we're going to add a draw mask to each one of these. So remember to just drag that on top. Great. So let's go to click on this first one. What we're going to do is we're going to just add a control point. Go to zoom out just a little bit to about 25%. We're just going to add control point just to that graphic right there. Great. And you notice we want to make sure that we're not inverting. This is not checked on the invert mask. Because if it is, then we have the questions. We don't want that. So that's what we're going to do. Alrighty. So now if you notice, it's just this respond portion. You know, it's just like that for the entire clip. Alrighty. So now what we're going to do is I'm actually going to size this graphic just a little bit down. So we're going to put this down to about 90%. All right. Zoom back in on this to fit. And we are going to move this graphic over just towards the end right there. And I'm going to push this up just a little bit more right at that top title safe bar. That looks amazing. All right, I am actually going to get rid of these overlays. So you just go to view and then you can take off all of them. Awesome. That looks great. Good job. All right, so now we're going to find question number 1. Oh, I think we're actually right there with our playhead.
Question number 1.
All right, so the rule of thumb that I usually do right here is the very first question, or whenever it says question number 1, 2, or 3, whenever it says question, during that is when I want the question to appear. So let's go play back and listen. I'm just going to pause right when she says question. Right about there. So I'm just going to bring this one all the way over. If your snap is not on, remember it's in on your keyboard, or it's this guy right there. All right, I'm going to close this effects. Question number 1, and I'm going to extend this all the way over to right about this audio divot right here. Let's find out where I need to extend it to.
It's to pray and ask God how he wants to speak to you this morning.
So right before the exit where she says, thank you so much for joining us today. Go be the church where you live, work, and play. I want all these questions to get off screen. So that's why I stopped it right here at this audio divot. So I'm just going to move this all the way towards the end of this divot. Zoom in just a little bit. Just like that. And then I'm going to add a crossfade to this. Just like that. Remember, it adds a crossfade at the beginning and the end. Very nifty. All right. So in between each of these questions, there's going to be this audio gap. So we know that this audio spike right here is going to be the word question. So I'm going to move this right about there. Bring it to the end. Do the same thing for question number 3. Right about there. And if you notice, there's a little line that goes all the way down. So you can kind of see where you're placing it at. And we can go back and edit where these are at. So let's go take a listen.
Question number 2.
Great. I'm actually going to disable this. To disable, it's the key X. Remember, we put that in the very first video. X. So let's look at this.
Question number 2.
That looked great. X. Disable that. And now question number 3.
And question number 3.
That looks great. Good job. All right, let's go ahead and add this CrossDissolve to both of these. Awesome. All right, now let's go to add in our mask. But before we do that, what we're going to do is we're going to scale all 3 of these down. So go ahead and select all 3 of them. And we're going to go down here to scale all 90%, because that's what we did that original one to, not 990, 90%. Hit enter on your keyboard, or return. And now we want to figure out what the exact X and Y coordinate of this clip right here is, so that way we can apply it to all 3 of these. So we're going to just click on this, and it's 189.3. I'm actually just going to copy this. I'm going to select all 3 of these. Oh, that is not what I wanted to happen. Command C. Reselect. Oh, it is not wanting to do it. Go try this again. Make sure you have it selected. There we go, 189.3. There we go. And now let's get the Y coordinate. It's 141. Yours might be a little bit different. There we go. And now is in the same spot as that, just that respond portion. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to add in our mask. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my playhead to where it's just this one showing. All right, and this is question number 1. So I'm just going to make a box around question number 1. Look at that. Make sure you don't have this inverted, because if you do, then question number 1 is not there. So let's look at this.
Morning. Question number 1.
Great. All right, let's go to question number 2, and let's make sure that it is selected. And let's draw our mask. Good job. Let's look at this.
Question number 2.
Great. All right, let's go to question number 3 and draw in our mask. Okay, let's look at this.
And question number 3.
Looks great. All right, now let's look at how all 3 of them exit. Let's look at this.
To you this morning. Thanks.
That looks amazing. Alrighty, so you notice right away that the question's already on top of her, and we don't want that. So we're going to do the exact same thing that we did to the previous video. We're going to move her over to the left just a little bit, and we're going to add in that background. So let's go to add in the background first. First background, zoom out just a little bit. Add in this underneath. Look at that, it's almost the exact same length. And remember, we zoomed this in to about 300%. So let's go ahead and scale this up, scale all, 300. Let's actually do 250. Let's be creative. Alrighty. So, if we take a look at this, let's disable this clip right here, X. That's what it's going to look like. Just like that. That's going to look really good. Alright, enable that clip again, and we're going to animate Aaron. So remember, we're going to bring our playhead to the beginning of this first question. So that's about 10.5 seconds right there, is that halfway marker. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring this, we're actually going to reverse animate again, and we're going to click on her, click on position, make it a keyframe right there, and I'm just going to drag her into the negative X, just like that. And I'm going to reapply the title action safe. Actually, I'm not going to have the title action safe. I'm going to have this show horizon, because it will show right about where the third is. And I'm not going to bring her as far over as I did on the last one, because if we go all the way over here to this third question, it's right there. So I might bring her over just a little bit more. So I'm actually going to bring this playhead all the way back over, or you can just hit that keyframe over there. So I'm going to bring her over right about 600, negative 600. Actually, I am going to have it negative 600, just for round numbers. Alrighty, so we're at negative 600, and we are going to zoom out just a little bit. That looks good. So right about maybe 15 frames in, I'm going to bring this back to 0. Let's look at this. Zoom out.
As we process what we heard this morning, question number 1.
All right, that was a little bit too slow for me. So let's delete that keyframe. We're just going to bring this right about there and make this 0. Let's watch this again.
As we process what we heard this morning, question number 1.
Awesome, that looks great. And let's zoom her in just a little bit. So I'm going to do 110 on the scale all. Now it looks so much better.
Process what we heard this morning. Question number 1. How does this psalm serve as an introduction for the others?
That looks good. Awesome. All right, now we need to add that graduated mask again. So let's go back to Effects, Masks, Graduated Mask, and just apply that to her. All right, you notice that it's kind of like this. So let's rotate this back up. We don't want it to be fanned out that much. We want it to be just a little bit less like that, maybe like that. So that's a little bit too harsh of an angle. Let's do that right there. We want to follow this angle right there. That looks good. So we're going to bring the playhead back to right here. And we want to add a keyframe to the center. Not the target, the center. Center is going to be this one right here. The target is going to be this guy right here. Alrighty. So we're going to go back to our position keyframe. And I'm going to move this over all the way right here. And then I'm going to go one keyframe over, just like that. Delete it. And then I'm going to bring the playhead 4 frames in. And I'm going to move this where I want it. That's going to look good right there. Let's look at this.
Question number 1.
That's a little bit too far in. So I'm going to move this back just a little bit.
Question number 1.
That looks good. All right, let's make sure we don't see the line of this video clip. Let's watch this.
Morning. Question number 1.
That looked great.
How does this psalm serve?
Alrighty, so let's go look at this. Question 2, question 3. That looks really good. All right. Now we need to unanimate her when these questions go away.
Speak to you this morning.
So what I usually do is I just do a cross dissolve. So what I'm going to do is get my blade tool, go right here towards the end of this. Remember, if your snap isn't on, it's in on your keyboard. All right, now I'm going to select this video clip right here, and I am going to hit 0. And I'm just going to push this target center all the way over there. All right, now go to your transitions, CrossDissolve. I'm just going to put those two together, and I'm going to make this just a little bit shorter. Can't really see what's going on now. All right, let's take a look at this.
God, how he wants to speak to you this morning. Thanks so much.
Oh, my computer is glitching out just a little bit.
This morning. Thanks so much for
It's a little bit too short, so let's do this.
this morning. Thanks so much for joining us for
That looks really good, guys. Double click to get rid of that. All right, we're just about done. What we need to do now is add in our intro and outro graphics. So the outro logo is going to be the one at the very beginning, remember. It is not wanting to go at the beginning. Delete that out of there. Let's try this again. There we go. Shorten that up to about 2 seconds. Cross dissolve on both sides. Just like that. Let's look at this.
glad you
Great. And we can actually, oh, we don't want to do that. Let's go back to our project. Exit.
put an awesome message.
So zoom in, and I don't really want to hear that breath. So I'm going to do this.
Glad you could join us for
That looks really good. I'm also going to add a cross dissolve to this guy right here.
glad
And I'm going to shorten him up just a little bit.
glad you could join us for
That looks good. All right, so this is where things are just a little bit different when it comes to graphics for the exit video. Go to your intro outro tab over here. Go to Go Outro Go B. This is going to be the outro logo as we transition out of things. So go ahead, add a cross dissolve right there. Shorten this guy up about 5 seconds long. Right there's good. And then we're going to switch back to the original Go B, or the outro logo, where it's just the logo and URL. About 5 seconds long as well. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a cross dissolve. Beautiful. And a cross dissolve to the end of that one. So let's look at this. That looks great. I'm going to go take off this show horizon. Alrighty, so we're just about done with this. So let's look at this. We're going to go to our first color. We're going to go to the one that we made for Aaron. If you don't have a compound clip, that's okay. You don't need one. You just have to apply the color to each individual tab. And I think I just messed something up. Oh no, I'm good. All right, so we added the color. Now we need to add audio. First audio, Aaron F. audio host, the one that you created. Let's listen.
walk in your faith and with others.
All right. And this is looking really good. All right, so we have this line right here. You may be asking yourself, why is this line that does not look good? That's something weird that happens in Final Cut Pro. It doesn't know how to interpret color and masks sometimes. So if your graduated mask is above all your color, you need to move your color above your graduated mask. So what we're going to do is we're going to select all of these. So start with the MLUT, go all the way down to hue and saturation curves, and holding Command, select all of them and move them above. And that gets rid of that. Make sure that's like that for everything here. Yeah, that looks so much better, doesn't it? Alrighty, so now that we have that done, what we're going to do now is add in music. For this one, I use Slowish. So go to in-house music, Slowish. All right, let's listen to this.
What an awesome message from Pastor Eric. I have 3 questions.
So it's kind of like this guitar, like chimey sounding music. We're just going to cut this right before it gets to going a little bit crazy. So listen to this.
Question number 2.
We don't want that yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut right there. And I'm just going to move this all the way down here. So I'm going to hit Command C to copy, Command V to paste, and I'm just going to squish that up against that one. Command C, Command V, copy and paste right about there. And I'm going to shorten this one up just a little bit right there. And then I'm going to do that. And that's all you have to do for this audio. For this, since we have so many different copied and pasted, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a compound clip to make adjusting audio just a little bit easier. So exit clip, I'm going to name this exit music. Make sure you save it to compound clip event. Okay, now it's one continuous clip. So let's go to add in our Aaron F audio host. And the same thing applies. We're going to take away that compressor, take away the de-esser, go in here to channel EQ, take away this high cut, take away this low cut, and this high shelf. Exit. Let's take a listen.
Awesome message from
Great. -8 on the volume scale.
Pastor Eric. I have 3 questions to ask you as we process what we heard this morning. Question number 1. How does this psalm serve as an introduction for the others?
So you notice that hissing sound if you're listening. That's the compressor bringing up the noise floor, which is kind of like that ambient background noise of whatever room you're shooting in. So we want to get rid of that during in between these questions, and we just want to mute Aaron's audio altogether. There's a super easy way of doing this without adding keyframes in and doing it manually. What we're going to do is we're going to go to right here where you see this arrow, hit the arrow down, and there's going to be this range selection. It's also going to be R on your keyboard. So let's go ahead select this. What this is going to do is it's going to select a range that you select on here, and you're able to increase the audio or just completely get rid of it. So we're just going to completely get rid of it. Let's listen to this.
Introduction for the others. Question number 2.
That sounds really good. So let's go to this other gap, make a range selection, and get rid of it. Listen to it.
At times. And question number 3.
That sounded great. And let's do the same thing right here.
With others. If you're watching,
That sounds really good. We can go a step further and we can do the same thing after she gets done talking. I'm just going to get rid of all this audio right there. Let's listen to that. That sounded great. Alrighty. This is good to export. Let's listen to it one more time.
I have 3 questions to ask you as we process.
Let's listen to when the music gets a little bit louder.
For our service. Now go be the church where you live, work, and play.
That sounds amazing. I'm actually just going to range select this, and I'm going to bring this range back to 0. So this is what it's going to sound like.
Church where you live, work.
That didn't work, as you can hear. So I'm just going to manually do this right here. So up to -1's fine. So let's listen to this.
Go be the church where you live, work, and play.
Sweet. Awesome. All right. We're good to export this. And yes, you want to export this black screen. We will be adding in a exit loop, like an announcement loop towards the end. This is good to export like this. However, we do have one more thing to do, and that is that announcement loop that I just said. So let me open up a previous library so we can get that exit loop in here. Actually, I'm just going to show you how to make one. So what we're going to do is go to projects. We're going to do Command N to make a new project. Do exit loop. Make sure it's 4K, save it in projects. Make sure everything right here looks the same. Alrighty. So exit loop, make sure it is the project open. So what we're going to do is we're going to have some announcements just looping in here as well as the questions. So let's go to graphics. And we're going to go to actually project. We need to add in the question first. So the question is the most important thing here. So go to make sure you have your selection tool done. We don't want this right here. We want everything in the center of the screen since there's not going to be a subject right here. It's just going to be these on the middle. So what we're going to do is we're going to put these towards the middle. So right about here, it's easier to put on your show horizon because this shows you the exact middle. So let's go keep moving this over. That looks good. I'm actually going to scale this up to about 125. 120. That feels better. Scooch this over just a little bit. All right, that kind of looks weird with this thing up here. So you guessed it, we're going to add a mask. So add mask. Let's go up here to video effects, masks, draw mask. Drop that on there. This one's super easy. You just make a shape. Make sure it's not inverted. And that looks really good. Oh, that looks good. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to our announcement slides and we're going to find what we want to put in here. So we don't want to put Father's Day in. We can actually just delete that one out if you have that one in your folder. COVID-19 relief. See you better together. I like this one better. It's a more updated graphic and it shows just a little bit more color. So let's go ahead and add this one in. And we need to add this towards the middle. So what we're going to do is we're going to just slide that over. Right about there. That looks it's a little bit too far. Right there. Groups. Let's go to add this one in. All right, let's move this towards the middle. Right about there. Don't need that. Sunday resources, definitely. Let's go and add that in. Move it to the middle. Looks great. Add a little bit to the left, right there. Alrighty. So we have these in here. One last one. Go to give. This is definitely one we want to have in there. This is the one. Give, add slide. Add this in, just like that. One more thing you want to do. You see this blend mode over here in your editing panel. Normal. Click on it. Go to screen. We want to make that a screen. Nothing really happens. You can't tell until we add in our background. So go to your background, first background. We're going to add it just like that. So let's look at this. I think my computer is glitching out right now. So while this is rendering, what we're going to do is we're going to copy and paste this until it is about 5 minutes long. So copy, Command C, Command B to paste, Command B again, Command B, Command B, and we're right at 59 seconds. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to our intro, outro, and we are going to add in go B for 10 seconds and outro, go B, or just the regular logo. I say that every time. All right, now we're going to add a CrossDissolve in to just these. We don't need to for everything. All right, that'll be fine. Alrighty, so it looks like my computer finally caught up with what we're doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of these. I'm going to scale these up to 200 and 50%. Let's take a look at that. Let's see what 200 looks like. And 300. It's just all about being creative. 275. I like 275. Haven't done that one yet. All right. So what we need to do as well is add in cross dissolves to each of these. Create transition. Boom. We need to add one more right here, just to get those last few seconds of this guy. So cross dissolve. Let's look at that. So the blending mode that we did with the give add slide, this is what it does. Before, it was on normal. Black background, looks ugly. When you add it to screen, what it's going to do is it's going to take everything that's black in here, and it's going to make it translucent whenever you hit screen. There's a whole bunch of these that you can play around with, but screen is what we're going to want to use to get rid of that black background. So now we have this announcement loop here at the end. It's about 5 minutes long. What we're going to do is we're going to go back to our exit. I'm sorry, go to your exit loop first. We need to make this a compound clip. That is how we're going to get it into our exit project. So you can hit Option G to make a compound clip. So exit loop clip is fine. Putting it projects, that's what I always do, just so it's easier to get to. All right, so exit, and then exit loop is right here. All right, and you notice it is super long. That's okay. That's what we want. All right, this is good to export. There's one thing that I noticed that we forgot to add in, and that is her title card. So we want to make sure that we always have title cards in. So I'm going to add her title card in real fast. Aaron Fenelon. Take a look. As soon as my computer catches up. Even if you're working with a beefy computer, it still slows down. While this is doing this, it's going to look good. I know it is. We've gotten everything we need to in this guy. So we are actually good to export this. You notice up here, this is what's taking forever. It's rendering very, very slowly. You see that? Alrighty. So it looks like it's finally caught up. So let's watch this.
You could join us for our service today, and what an awesome message.
Let's go back a little bit.
Glad you could join us for our service today, and what an awesome message from Pastor Eric. I have 3 questions to ask you as we process what we heard this morning. Question number 1.
So her title was up there just a little bit too long for me, so let's go to cut it in half. I'm going to make this just a little bit shorter.
Glad you could join us for our service today, and what an awesome message from Pastor Eric. I have 3 questions to ask you as we process.
That looks great. All right, we are good to export this. Remember, it's up at the top right corner, master file. Make sure yours looks exactly like this. And yeah, that's a big file. Hit next. Name it exit. Name it exit and loop. Save. All right, that's exporting. And now Wednesday or whenever you get this done and your deadline is, just get this to the supervisor over this project and we will go from there. Great job.